What's up, my men and rebuild warriors? My name is David, and today we are talking about the 3-4 defenses. My top 3-4 defenses. You guys have been asking for this video. Well, now here it is. So let's get into it. But before we do, let's talk about some key points here. One, I use the Ravens as my primary team to do these tests with. Now, some people will disagree with that. You want to use a bad defense or whatever. I think the Ravens are the second highest rated 3-4 defense behind the Steelers, but they actually have an offense that goes along with actually making a defense good. That matters to your overall numbers. If you want to see your defenses in the green, if you want to get that Z, getting the Z means, the number one seed in your conference for the playoffs. If you want those elite stats, you need to have a good offense, because I've done these simulations with the Steelers too, which have the number one overall defense for 3-4, and their offense is so bad that it really hampers your numbers. And we're all rebuilding. We're all going to assign, trade for, draft the best player. So we want to use the best teams. When you're talking about using the Ravens, what works? You want one good middle linebacker, hopefully two. You want a really good D tackle and left end, right end. That's just icing on the cake. But you really want that left end and that D tackle to be good. Your outside linebackers, your rushers don't have to be great. The Dolphins, the Ravens don't have the best outside linebackers, but these numbers, these stats, these playbooks put up, ridiculous. So you can worry about leading the league in sacks all you want. Sometimes you will, sometimes you won't. But it's more about, like I said, being the top defense in overall wise, pass wise, and rush wise, getting the Z, being the number one team. So you want to win. We're worried about offensive stats. You can't be worried about defensive stats. You can't have everything. You can have everything, but not all at once. So these playbooks are just to help you win championships, right? Training matters. How you train on defense. I cover that a little bit at the end when I go over one of my example rebuilds, which is something I've been doing. Like I said, offensive pairing matters. What your offense is doing. Now, if you use the Cowboys, you're throwing more, so your numbers are probably going to be a little bit different on defense. They're probably not going to be as high. You might be number one or top three, top five in some categories, but not all categories. The Ravens, they do throw for a lot of touchdowns, not a lot of yards, but they run the ball, and it just helps your defense out so much. Offense playbook matters, and then your defensive player overall, like I said, it's not so much the defenses overall, but probably your overall at certain positions. Good safeties, at least one good corner, middle linebacker, defensive tackle, left end. That's like the Ravens mold. I think it's way better than the Steelers mold, which they have an elite pass rusher, and even in any playbook, he could put up 17 and a half, 20 sack seasons, and that really boosts up your sack numbers, but does it really lead to wins? Probably not. So that's my little tangent before. I've been killed in the past because I was using the Cowboys for offense. The Chiefs, rather. Yeah, I was using the Chiefs to do my simulations for offense, and some people can disagree with that or not. You're not going to use, if you have bad teams when you're rebuilding, you're going to have bad results. So you just kind of take it one step at a time. You're going to have to sign free agents. You're going to have to draft superstars or trade for them or something like that. But don't worry about sack numbers, tackle numbers, interception numbers. With defense, as much as you want to worry about, yardage for the most part, pass and rush. So usually when you're really good at stopping one of those and staying on time on offense, you're just going to have great results as far as wins. It's about wins. You can worry about the numbers for offenses. That's why the in my opinion, the Cowboys is the best. Anyway, I'm rambling on. Let's get into this. Let's talk about our tiers of defenses, and then when we get to the elite tier, I'll have them in 1, 2, 3, in my opinion, of what's the best. All right, so let's get into it. So the first tier we have are the usable defenses. They're good defenses. They're usable, respectable. We have the Ravens, really solid defense. You'll have top 5 numbers. And then you have the Broncos, another defense, top 5 potential. They're just usable. Nothing great, but they definitely deserve to be mentioned. So Ravens or Denver, nothing wrong with them. Now let's talk about our second tier. This is the good tier, almost elite defenses. The only thing that keeps them out is they're not consistent with being, the top defenses, or they're just not consistent every year as far as some of the gaudy numbers you can put up with the top 3 defenses. But Giants, Titans, and Vikings, all really good defenses. And like I said, if they were a little bit more consistent or had some bigger blow-ups from a season to a season, as far as numbers go, they could definitely be in the top tier. So don't sleep on these defenses. These defenses are very good, very usable, and sometimes there might be an issue with pairing, and they might work better with other offenses. You never know. They might work better with, particular personnel you have on the field. Defense can be so fickle sometimes as far as numbers, but you use the Giants, Titans, or Vikings, there's nothing wrong with it. You can definitely get green numbers, get the Z, win championships. So strongly consider using these 3 defenses. But in case you want the best of the best, let's go over that now. Coming in at number 3, we have the Las Vegas Raiders. You can expect to get 15-2 seasons, top 3 defensive categories, lots of greens, making playoffs, winning championships. They did my man Antonio Pierce pretty good with giving him a great defensive playbook to rebuild your teams with. So that is our number 3, the Las Vegas Raiders. Number 2, we're staying in the AFC West. We have the Chargers. I've seen 16-1 seasons, 15-2 seasons, top 3 in defensive categories, number 1 in overall categories. Same as the Raiders. Lots of green, lots of Z's as far as record-wise. This is a great playbook, and honestly, the Raiders or the Chargers could be number 1. It's if it wasn't for how consistent number 1 is as far as being number 1 in categories all at once, and having 16-1 seasons. So don't forget about the LA Chargers, but let's talk about the number 1 defense for Quick Sim in Madden 25. And the number 1 overall defense for 3-4 in Madden 25 Quick Sim rebuild is the Miami Dolphins. I've seen 16-1 seasons, 15-2 seasons. I've seen them number 1 across the board, both helping the offense helping the defense. I mean, I've never seen so much green. I'm going to give you at the end one of the last screenshots I'm going to show you is an example of a rebuild I did where I've never seen, out of all these simulations and rebuilds, I've never seen a defense be number 1 in points, pass, and rush. And we've had a bunch of them with the Dolphins playbooks, and that's why they're number 1. You want to use like the Ravens mold of the players that they have to rebuild, be strong in those positions: middle linebacker, left end, D tackle, safeties, 1 corner. That'll definitely help you reach these numbers. I use the Ravens offense as well, and they just have led to monster seasons. I mean, being first in points, pass, and rush is just really unheard of, right? Like, it's crazy. So the Miami Dolphins are my number one 3-4 defense for Quick Sim and Madden 25. And now let's talk about an example of a rebuild I'm doing and some other random thoughts and musings for you. So, I did this as an addition. The video, goes on a little bit longer. I think it's like six minutes longer after this. But hopefully you stick around and you watch that part of the video. But the Miami Dolphins, my favorite defense, maybe overall compared to the Packers, which was my favorite 4-3 defense, my number one defense. I think, but we'll have to figure that out. But for sure, for 3-4, Miami Dolphins is the number one defense. Talk about my favorite 3-4 defense here in regards to this rebuild I've been doing. This is like my day one rebuild, kind of learning as I go here. We went through a period not too long ago, a couple seasons ago, of a dynasty. We had won 3 Super Bowls in a row and 4 out of 5 using the Cowboys offense and my favorite 4-3 defense, which is the Packers. And then we were in cap hell. The quarterback we had was overly priced, but I had already planned for that. I'll talk about his contract later and what happened with that. Some things you need to know about rebuilding. But for the sake of this video, we're talking about the defense. So we're in a new scheme, both on offense and defense. And the offense we're in is the Ravens, because the quarterback we had drafted was the fastest quarterback I've ever seen as far as 40 time goes. And he's like a Lamar Jackson type. So, of course, we're going to put him in a Lamar Jackson type offense. And then the defense is the Dolphins. And we are 7-1. We already won a Super Bowl last year with both of these schemes, these playbooks. And I would have said that was probably my worst team I've ever had in this rebuild. Was last year. It was just supposed to be a rebuild year, shedding cap, making moves, stockpiling draft picks to get back into winning, and we ended up winning a Super Bowl. And part of that is because we had a great defense, and we have just reached all greens at this point in the season. I recommend being patient with your defense. I've mentioned this before in this video, but you gotta be patient, especially if you're not in the greens in defense. You should see your numbers like inch up. It's a week to week. As the season goes on, the cream rises to the top, and you just should see your numbers settle in to some greens. Both these playbooks work together very, very well. So we are 7-1, second in points, fourth in pass against, and 10th in rush. And we don't even have a great defense. I mean, we're still rebuilding this defense. We have starting rookie corners. Let's look at the roster here. Mainly the defense. So we lost both our best safeties. They aged out. They priced out. So we got a corner here that we were building. He's at strong safety right now. Vincent is another safety we're building. No abilities on these guys. Henry Powers and Jermaine Blaylock, they're both just 80 overalls. One's a hidden development. I believe it's Blaylock. They're top 5 talents. We spent a lot of capital to get them. Frost is someone we've been building. Odom, someone we've been building. Strickland, I thought was going to be better, but he's a power rush left outside linebacker, but he's only 81 overall. Building second and third round defensive tackles, only in the 80s. Doing what we can right now until we get better draft picks. But like, our defense is not great, and we're getting it done, man. And then a little tidbit here. I'm gonna make a bigger video on this, but training is very important, and I'm going to stop it. I only train to defend the deep, medium, or short. Whatever is the highest rating generally works. And then this is a little tip for no. This is a little tip for the Ravens. Blitz kind of works the best with the Ravens, right? So that's how I train my defense and my offense. I think that's kind of important. With this particular book, I like to win turnover battles, 400 yards, allow under 20, and allow 2 or less passing touchdowns. They generally drive together, and yeah, that's all you gotta do. Overalls will definitely help your defense. player to player, depending on the position. But I'm telling you, man, just gotta have a good offense and be in the right scheme defensively and slowly build your players. But don't freak out if you're in the middle of the pack. First couple seasons, first couple weeks, if your numbers are going up and down, the numbers are so tight as far as the difference between top 5 and top 10, top 10, top 15. Like, the numbers are so tight, but as you go on, you should see your defense get better. And if it's not getting better, sometimes other playbooks work better with other offenses. So try the Chargers, try the Raiders, Giants, Titans, or Vikings. You might have to move it around. I don't think you particularly have to. I'm fine with the Dolphins. I already won one Super Bowl using them just this last season with a team that was worse than this, in my opinion. So, yep. Anyway, that is 3-4 defenses. My favorite: Dolphins. Number 2, Chargers. Number 3, Raiders. You're going to expect some great numbers out of them. You want to have more variety: Giants, Titans, Vikings, Ravens, Denver. Usable defenses, good defenses, and then just the elite of the elite. And I think that the Dolphins, Chargers, and Raiders might even be better than my favorite 4-3 defenses. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. We will see you next time. I'm not sure what's going to be next. Maybe I'll do a video on training. But you already got a little sneak peek of that right here. So that's just for the people who don't watch all the way through. All right. Thanks for watching. I appreciate everyone. Got so many comments and interaction on my 4-3 defense and my offense videos. I really appreciate you guys. All right. Until next time. Later.